I rewatched all of the Alien and Predator movies in anticipation of Alien Earth and with Predator Badlands coming out soon. So I decided, of course, to rank them because what is art if not ranked? That's the question that always needs to be asked. And Alien and Predator are completely different franchises, except that sometimes they're not. So I put them all together. I thought that would be fun. Has anyone ever done this before? I've got my trusty guy in the chair, Steve, here with me.
Hello.
He may chime in from time to time because everybody has Alien and Predator opinions, but I need you to know, this is just my list. I know that there's a couple of hot takes in here. That's not intentional. It's not rage bait. It's just how I feel. Don't get upset. This list cannot hurt you. So there's 15 movies in the Alien and Predator franchises when you put them together. And at number 15, the very worst, the bottom of the barrel, is AVP Requiem. It's definitely the worst of the bunch. This is a fan film. This is like if a couple of your buddies got a few $1 million to make an Alien and Predator movie, which would be awesome. You'd be really proud of your buddy if he made this. But it's unfortunately a big budget blockbuster action movie. And so for that reason, it's a travesty. At number 14 is Shane Black's The Predator from 2018. And look, if you squint, you can kind of see what Shane Black was trying to do. And that movie is pretty cool. It's wildly offensive, but still pretty funny at times. But it doesn't fit in either of these franchises at all. It's like he made every possible wrong decision. He zigs instead of zags at every turn, and it's wild. At number 13 is Alien 3. And I've got a lot of good friends that really respect this movie. They even love it. And I love them, but that is not me. We can talk about how good the cinematography is in this movie. We can talk about how wonderful Charles S. Dutton and Charles Dance are. We can even talk about how gritty and meticulous David Fincher's direction always is. But this movie doesn't work for me on any level. It's the least pleasurable of the Alien franchise for me to watch every single time. I've seen every possible cut of this movie, so don't bother being like, well, just try the director's cut, try the Ripley cut, try the Charles Dance cut, try the fan edit. I mean, it doesn't matter. I hate them all. And if you watch this movie directly after watching Aliens, it's truly heartbreaking every single time. There's a rule in improv that states yes and, right? That's the thing that keeps it going. And Alien 3 asks the question, what if we said yeah, nah? At number 12 is AVP. That's right, Alien versus Predator. If you saw this shit in 2004, you were amazed. We were all collectively like, they're really doing it. They're together. They're fighting. This is a fun movie. It's not great, but it is really fun. And it even holds up. Maybe it's just me. It's like watching like the first Resident Evil film. You're aware this isn't like high value cinema perhaps, but it's a really fun time. And it's like Hunger Games, but with Yautja. It really works. It even has Lance Henriksen as Charles Bishop Whalen, some cool Easter egg stuff. This is a vestigial 90s action flick with iconic movie monsters. It's definitely worth a rewatch. At number 11 though, is 2010's Predators. And I think this movie does not get enough credit. It's actually really neat. The only problem with this movie is that there's two things that I have never thought before are true about this movie. Number one, Adrian Brody is miscast, I think. He's supposed to play this macho special forces mercenary, and I just never get that vibe from Adrian Brody, even though he's like an Oscar-winning actor. He's almost too good. You know what I mean? Like this is not for you. Where's Vin Diesel? Was he busy or something? Like I think that would actually make this movie better, and that might be crazy to say. The other thing that's true about this movie that's very strange to say out loud is that when Lawrence Fishburne shows up, it ruins the momentum of this movie. Because up until that point, they're all just stranded on this alien planet. They don't know what's going on. You've got fucking Danny Trejo, and every time he shows up, you're like, oh yeah. It's a strange detour for about 25 minutes until we get back into the action. But this movie's pretty good. Like I had no memory of it. And on the rewatch, I was like, this kind of rocks.
And Topher Grace is in it. He probably has an edit of Alien 3 that you might enjoy.
That's true. At number 10 is Alien Resurrection. And hear me out for a second. This movie is not as bad as you think it is. And I'm going to tell you, well, I'm not going to tell you why. I'm just going to tell you why for me. If you grew up loving like Underworld and Paul W.S. Anderson movies, then this movie rocks. It fits right in, and I, for good or ill, am one of those people. I really enjoy this movie. It's definitely toward the bottom of the Alien franchise, above Alien 3, but it's a lot more fun to watch than you would think. It's the last of the Ripley quadrilogy. It deserves its respect. At number 9 is Alien Romulus. And look, somehow the most controversial thing I've ever said online is that I didn't like this movie. It took people months to stop harassing me when I did that. But I was right in my prediction back then. I actually like this movie a little bit more on the rewatch with some distance from the rest of the franchise because I watched it first of all the Alien movies, and it was better. I wasn't so hung up on the fact that this is basically the Force Awakens of the Alien franchise. And even that would be okay. I like Force Awakens, even though it doesn't have any incredibly new ideas. It's a really fun movie. The reason that takes it down a peg is how much the other Aliens offer, but also it's just the digital recreation of Ian Holm. It's not even a small part of the movie. People are like, get over it. He's a huge part of that movie. And he keeps popping up and it looks awful. I don't care what his family said. I think it's ethically strange, especially if you realize that there's multiple other actors who played immortal androids that are still alive that would have had the same effect. There's no good reason to do that. And I think it's like a microcosm of what's wrong with the rest of the movie and all the fan service, and you can call them homage. It's really just a state of mind or a perspective, but it makes everything else worse that it's there. But other than him, the movie is gorgeous and fun and practical. And I will say that Kaylee Spaney and David Johnson are both absolutely incredible in this movie and so fun to watch. And I'm still excited for whatever new installments, especially with these characters that we get. But yeah, I think it's a fair spot to put it at 9 for those reasons. At number 8 is Predator 2. And I have no real defense of this movie. This movie is fucking insane. They wanted to ramp up the ridiculousness and all the stakes from the first movie. And so what they decided to do was, of course, call Bill Paxton. But then it's like someone accidentally dialed Gary Busey and he showed up and they were all like, no. That's like a grenade at a cookout. But he couldn't be made to leave. There wasn't enough security. Everyone in this movie is constantly at an 11 when the scene only calls for a 6, and they're really sweaty for no reason. And it's awesome.
And also there's a predator in it.
Yeah. Secondary to everything else going on, there's a predator in it. It's also neat because this is the first time in this movie that we get a crossover, albeit a tiny one, between the Alien franchise and the Predator franchise. There's the xenomorph skull in the spaceship at the end, like amidst his trophies. And it had already happened in the comics. I think this is like 9 months after the release of the Alien versus Predator comic line had first come out, but they're pretty close. And so for non-comic book readers, people watching the movies were like, whoa! And then we're off to the races. At number 7 is the newest installment in the Predator franchise, Predator Killer of Killers, the animated installment. It's got slick animation with that kind of jerky frame rate. And it's got all of the fantasies that people in the fandom have had for the longest time. Like, what if a samurai fought a Yautja, even though that kind of happens in 2010's Predators? What if a Viking fought a Yautja? Then it ties it all together at the end and has some really cool promises for the rest of the franchise, for the future. It's just a really neat movie. I love it. This might seem high to a lot of people, but I think Dan Trachtenberg is slowly becoming one of our most promising action directors. And this is a super fun movie. At number 6 is the original Predator movie. This is a balls to the wall, testosterone fueled odyssey. This is like if your sleep paralysis demon had roid rage. Some of the most iconic line deliveries in all of cinema history. And it's wild to me every time I watch it that somebody wrote those down. An actor decided to actually say them. John McTiernan, the director, was like, cut, nailed it. And then the editor was like, I'm going to leave it in. There's multiple people made the decision to leave in lines like, this stuff will make you a goddamn sexual tyrannosaurus just like me. And then you got Shane Black. Like when he wrote the 2018 movie, he was like, what if I just had everybody say crazy shit like I said in the original movie?
All of that all the time.
At number 5 is Ridley Scott's prequel, Prometheus. This is exploring the Alien franchise, but in terms of mythos and religion and the human condition. It's terrifying and meditative and somber. And the only thing bad that I ever hear anybody say about this movie is some CinemaSins garbage about how to properly run from a falling spacecraft or how to properly explore an alien planet as a scientist. But these criticisms are always delivered from a Cheeto dust covered couch as though from personal experience. So they bother me. Now, it's evident of other things that are not working about the movie for you if you're saying those things, because you wouldn't be thinking in those terms if you had like a willing suspension of disbelief. And so I'm sure there's other things not working about the movie that you're not telling me. But I love this movie. At number 4 is Aliens. I actually hear you. I kind of regret putting it at this level on the list, even as I say it. But the thing is, even though this movie's incredible, it's almost perfect, it's iconic, it's amazing, and I love it so, so much, I think I like the other 3 movies slightly more. And so it has to be at number 4, even though when I look at the list, I'm like, Aliens can't be at number 4. It is what it is. It mostly goes there, mostly. At number 3 is Prey. And yes, that means that Prey, directed by Dan Trachtenberg, is my favorite Predator movie, which might be insane, but it is what it is. I watched this movie 3 times the day that it came out. And I never do that. And then later I watched it in the Comanche dub, which is awesome if you've never done that. This movie is so slick and smart and endlessly rewatchable. And its high quality is the reason that we're getting so many other installments in this franchise. It reinvigorated everything. And then we got the Predator 2 callback at the end. This is just such a gem. I love it so much. At number 2, yes, I'm aware this is a super hot take, and no, it's not on purpose. I just legitimately don't understand why everyone hates this movie. It's Alien Covenant. I think this is the perfect bridge or synthesis of the mythic take of something like the biblical creation myth of Prometheus and just pure, raw masterpiece sci-fi horror like Alien. It's the perfect bridge between those two things. I love this movie. It starts out, it's very Prometheus for the first hour or so. And I think David is not only one of the most interesting characters in the Alien franchise, he's one of the most interesting characters of the 21st century. Basically, your litmus test for how you feel about this movie. If you can watch the David and Walter flute scene and think it's amazing and not ridiculous and funny, then you're going to love this movie. That's the litmus test, I think. Let me do the fingering. But at number 1 is the original 1979 Ridley Scott masterpiece, Alien. I think this is a perfect movie. I can't actually say that about very many movies. I've given 5-star ratings to tons of movies, but it's like, this movie is perfect. It's the perfect organism. The story's perfect. The pacing is perfect. H.R. Giger's design, the production design, slashers were recently invented as well. This is right after Halloween and right after Star Wars. And it's the perfect synthesis of those things. And we're just now understanding the idea of a final girl. Ripley steps in and becomes like the most iconic version of that you can imagine. I'm not even going to get into all the themes and how hardcore of a feminist movie this movie is. It's just like this efficient machine of sci-fi and terror. This is one of the best movies ever made. Well, that's my list. That's my uncontroversial ranking. Make sure to comment below your ranking of the Predator and Alien franchises. I love talking about this stuff with people. This is like a really beloved group of franchises, and I love how much steam they're getting as far as pop culture. You can listen to our podcast streaming things anywhere you get podcasts. If you like stuff like this, we've actually covered a few of the Alien movies and Predator movies on there. Those are really fun to listen to. At least I think so, but I'm biased. I do some work on TikTok and Instagram at Movies Are Therapy that you might have seen. Make sure to subscribe and like this video and all that shit. Ring the bell, all that stuff. I really appreciate the support here. I'm trying to build a different community where we can have kind of longer conversations than what I typically do. And if nothing else, thanks for stopping by. Thanks for watching. I appreciate you very much.